Buen dia, buenas noches, or whatever. Hello, hello. You read the title? That's what we're talking about. Now, if you are a teenager and you feel like absolute crap, right? You feel like your life is worth nothing. You feel like there is nowhere to go. You feel like no one understands you. You feel like you're boxed in. You feel that no one sees you. You feel that life has no meaning for you, and the people around you don't seem to care too much about what you think or feel anyway. So why should you think or feel about yourself? Common. It's pretty common. You know, most teenagers have gone through a stage where they're depressed, whether they got through a breakup, whether they got dropped from a team, whether they have gotten bad scores on something, whether they've witnessed terrible things. You know, maybe they've experienced neglect of some sort. Maybe, just maybe, they went in a new environment and they didn't know what to do. They couldn't make any friends. They felt like no one saw eye to eye with them, at least no one in their friend group. They felt ostracized. Those are all things that could possibly cause one to be depressed, right? Now, the funny thing about all those examples is that I have lived through every single one of those experiences. And here I am, alive and well and thriving, making this video for people who are now in the shoes I once wore. The fact of the matter is, life is more than your depression. Sad, harsh, I know, whatever. I'm gonna talk to you the way I see fit. Because if you allow your ideas and your thoughts to bring you down, in the sense that you allow the weight of your experience to absolutely cripple you, where you cannot bear to wake up in the morning, where you cannot find the motivation to do the bare minimum to take care of yourself, right? That's dangerous. And you need to put things into perspective. That's a big thing. You need to put things into perspective. Understand that the place you are at right now is not going to be the rest of your life. And that's a fact. You know, I've been through things where I felt like it was never going to end. I was like, God, when is this going to end? Like, this feels like forever. I cannot bear this anymore. But let me tell you something, bro. It's gonna change. Nothing is constant. My mom used to always tell me this. Nothing in life is forever. Now, I happen to not fully believe that. I think some things are forever, but most things aren't forever. And your suffering is definitely one of those things. You can't suffer forever. You're not going to suffer forever. You get what I'm saying? Especially if you live in a first world country. And I know you've heard that argument a lot. It's like, oh, you live in a first world country, you have no reason to complain. I know. But that's a fact, okay? It's a fact. I'm not saying you don't have any reason to feel sad. I'm not saying you don't have any reason to feel down. We're human beings. Everyone feels sad at some point. Everyone feels down. But what I am saying is that if you allow those feelings to absolutely cripple you, you are complicit in the damage that's being done to you. And you need to do something about it, bro. You need to do something about it. Now, enough with the hazing. I'm done implicating you in this mess. Let's talk about reasons. Because I know a lot of people simply want to be understood. A lot of people simply want to feel like someone sees them. And I want you to know that I see you. I do. I really do. Now, one thing that affects a lot of teenagers is the fact that they feel like they can't fit in with their society, especially in means of dating, right? Now, if you're a teenage guy, because I'm going to speak specific to the guys now, because I am a dude, I can't talk for the females. You go, bro, if you go like 2 months without a girl, it feels like forever. You get what I'm saying? You start to question your confidence. You start to question your pool game. You start to question how you look. You start to question a lot of these things, and it's like, dude, why am I not being chosen? Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other. You get in your own head, and soon enough, you lack complete confidence. Like, you have no confidence because you start to micromanage everything, right? And then when you do that, it's like life has a way of withholding the things that you want too much for the wrong reasons. And I think that is true for a lot of guys, a lot of teenage dudes, right? And that's the cause of depression for a lot of guys, but you'll get over it. It's just another thing, dude. Like, I know it feels terrible in the moment. You'll get over it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Journal. Write a little bit. 50-year-old you is going to love to read this one day. So make a note of it. Talk about how you feel. Talk about how it's affected you. Talk about what you've done in the meantime. And live your days, bro. There's more to life than being with someone who probably isn't where they need to be for you anyways. You know, and for the girls who feel like they aren't seen, who feel like no one understands them, right? No guy's asking you out. No guy thinks you're pretty, according to you, at least. I know it's hard, especially when you see all your friends engaging in different activities and you're just being left out. It's difficult, and that can definitely be a cause for depression, right? But rest assured, you have a lot of growth left. You have to fully believe in your potential. I'm talking to guys and girls right now. You have to fully buy into the fact that you have an insane amount of potential for many different things, right? You cannot look with short lens. You cannot look to next week and say, oh, will this happen by next week? Maybe not next week, but maybe in the next 5 years, right? If you work towards something for a long amount of time, for enough time, eventually it'll happen. Eventually. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So this feeling you feel right now, understand that it is a true feeling. It's a real feeling. It's not irrelevant, but it can't define you holistically, right? It can't define you in a holistic manner. Your experience isn't you, right? Your feelings aren't you. And being depressed tends to have that effect on us where we think my entire life forever has been sad. But that's simply not true. That is simply not true. And then we talk about loneliness, because I know the whole dating thing, and yeah, those are just stereotypical examples of why teens feel depressed. Let's talk about a deeper issue that less people tend to talk about, and that's loneliness. Being alone, you have to learn. It's something you have to learn to master, right? Because human beings are naturally social creatures. We want to be around people. We want to have friends. We want to see eye to eye with someone else. We want to laugh with people. We want to enjoy. We want to have a good time with people, right? We want to feel accepted, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's something. I think that's something to be valued. People who admit that, I think, are some of the biggest teddy bears in the world. They're amazing, right? But sometimes you're in a situation where you just can't get any of that. And it's a learning curve. You have to learn how to live alone. You have to learn how to be alone. And there's a distinction between being alone and being lonely. But for the purpose of this video, we'll call them the same thing, right? Because more often than not, they occur in the same situation, right? And especially when you're a teenager, you associate being alone with being lonely. You're not being asked out to the parties. You're not being invited to the events, right? Anything that's happening, your friends leave you out, or you have no friends whatsoever, right? You feel ostracized. You feel left out. That's completely understandable. That feeling, as long as those situations occur, will never go away. Even after even after you're a teenager, you get into your 20s. Right, you have co-workers and people just don't invite you to the events. You feel left out, blah, 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 whatever. You know, truth is, sometimes in life you can't get everything you want. Allowing one experience, one situation to completely change the way you see yourself is irrational. It's not smart, right? You need to have a consistent view of yourself. How do you view yourself, right? You need to see who you are as who you are, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what people think about you, regardless of how people treat you. Because at the end of the day, you came into this world alone. And at the end of the day, you're going to leave alone, right? You are in your own head. You should be your best friend, right? Whether people are there or not, the only thing that remains consistent is you. And so you should have a consistent view of yourself. Not because you're not with people or people don't want to invite you anywhere doesn't mean you're detestable, right? You need to have a consistent view of yourself. You need to strengthen your view of yourself, and that makes me feel like being alone can be such a superpower. It can be such a blessing because it allows you to see yourself in a new light. It allows you to develop how you see yourself outside of the influence of other people. That's what loneliness allows you to do. And especially when you're a teenager, it'll be so prudent for you to develop a view of yourself when you are alone, right? So that once you get out into the world with other people, you now have the solidified view of who you are and what you can be, regardless of how people interact with you, regardless of what people think about you. And that is when you become truly powerful. Whether I'm alone or with people, this is what I think about myself, and it remains constant. Right? Having that mental framework will change your life. Stave off depression. Right? And finally, I'd say think about life in a happy way, in a grateful way. Being grateful is one of the best ways to stave off depression. No matter what is happening, no matter what's going on, if you are grateful for your experiences, if you try to find the good things, as cliche as it might sound, I promise you, you will feel better. Take care of yourself. Brush your teeth daily. Make sure you shower daily. Take care of your hygiene daily. Right? Get some sleep. Go to bed. That affects your mood, it affects your hormones, it affects your dopamine levels, right? Go to bed. Get some sleep. And you will feel better. Get consistent sleep for weeks on end. Not just one day, and then for the rest of the night, for the rest of the week, you get 4 hours of sleep. Right? That's not gonna work. That's gonna mess up. It's gonna mess up your head. So focus on the basics. Focus on the things that matter. And eventually, you'll have a turnaround. I promise, bro. I promise. And hey, Corban Conversations. I heard that I cure depression, you know, so I don't know, man. There's this guy, he lives on Mars, and I mean, someone lives on Mars, bro. They gotta be smart. And he told me, he was like, hey, Corban, I've been watching your channel for some time now, and I think it seems as if every time I watch your channel, my mood just goes up. So, I mean, I'd take advice from anyone who lives on Mars. I mean, I would. So, you can do with that information what you want, but I hope the best for you. I do. I do. So, seek on. Seek on. I'll catch you next time.